The stars are right, and that means it's time for another episode of The Whisper in Darkness. I'm your host, the Man from Lang. Thank you very much for joining me today. On this episode, I am playing through the prologue of The Circle Undone, the 4th Deluxe expansion for the Arkham Horror LCG. This is my second crack at this. I posted a video earlier, but I made a silly mistake. Serves me right for trying to record when I'm late at night and tired. So we are going to give this another shot. We are playing the prologue through with Gavriella Mizrah. There will be playthroughs with the other 3 neutral investigators as well. Just a couple of housekeeping notes before we get started. First of all, thanks to everyone who left a comment on the previous video. I'm still tweaking the whole webcam thing, and so I've made a few changes. Hopefully it will be a little bit less distracting this time around. And also make sure that we had a lot of content released here recently for the Arkham Horror LCG, including the Return to the Dunwich Legacy campaign and the Circle Undone. So please leave a comment down below to let me know which investigators you would like to see me play those 2 campaigns with. For the Return to the Dunwich Legacy, pretty much any investigator will do, while for the Circle Undone, we'll try to play through with one of the investigators who was released in the box. So if you have a preference, leave a comment down below and I will take that into consideration as we get these playthroughs started. Speaking of playthroughs, we have one here for Gavriella. As you're probably familiar by now, the neutral investigators that were included in this box are intended to die during this scenario, so they are rather weak. They only have a few cards that start in their play area, and they also just have an opening hand. They have no draw deck to speak of. Gavriella is the private security. She has 3 willpower, 2 intellect, 4 combat, and 1 agility. That 2 intellect is a big concern because the haunted abilities on locations do trigger if you fail an investigate skill test at them. And so it's going to be doubly difficult for Gavriella to grab clues if she not only has that 2 intellect, but is also having to deal with haunted abilities on top of that. And of course, her 1 agility is not going to do her any favors either. She has the veteran trait and the response after an enemy attacks you, even if that attack was cancelled, discover 1 clue at your location, limit once per round. That is going to be Gavriella's main way of discovering clues during this scenario. And she has the Elder Sign effect, +1, heal 1 damage, and 1 horror. She has 8 health and 4 sanity. So not great in the sanity department. She begins play with a 45 automatic with 2 ammo tokens remaining and a copy of physical training. And in her opening hand, she has first aid, guard dog, evidence, dodge, extra ammunition, and 2 copies of Delay the Inevitable, the Guardian event that was released in the Circle Undone. We only have the 7 cards, and each time a card is played, it is removed from the game. So we don't have a lot of cards to be committing to skill tests. So we're going to be relying heavily on Gavriella's skills to get us through this game. We are set up and ready to go here in Octagon. Gavriella starts here at Victorian Halls. It's a 4-shroud location with 0 clues. It has the spectral trait and the haunted ability, lose 1 action. And the big enemy that starts in play is the Spectral Watcher. You are its prey. It has 3 fight, 5 health, and 3 evade. It has the alert keyword, which first came out in the Forgotten Age cycle. And of course, that if you do try to evade it and fail, it will attack you. But fortunately, that's not really going to be Gavriella's concern, because considering she can't evade anything with an agility of 1. He's a hunter, and he has the forced effect. When the Spectral Watcher is defeated, instead of discarding it, heal all damage from it, disengage it from all investigators, and exhaust it. it does not ready during the upkeep phase this round. So it will be chasing us throughout this scenario. Our main goal is to simply grab as many clues as possible before we die. There is no way for the investigator to survive this scenario. Your goal is just to grab the clues, and then when you die, you get to place them on the act deck, and then at the end of the scenario, you record how many clues were discovered in your campaign log. There is only one agenda in this particular scenario. It's Agenda 1A, Judgment 20. There is no escaping fate. Hear the call and be reborn. It has the forced effect. After doom is placed on any card, and that includes the agenda, each investigator must either take 1 damage or 1 horror, 2 damage or 2 horror instead if there is 5 or more doom in play. So this scenario becomes progressively more painful as more doom is added. It also has the forced effect when any investigator is defeated. That investigator must advance this agenda. Do not remove any doom from this agenda when it advances. Obviously, this is for when you're playing multiplayer, and eventually each investigator will die, and as they do, you flip over the agenda, resolve its effect, and flip it back over, and keep on playing until everybody is dead. There is only one act in this scenario. That is Act 1A, The Disappearance. Something terrible has invaded the home of Joseph Meiger. In the moments that follow, you scramble to survive. It has the forced effect. When an investigator is eliminated, place each of that investigator's clues on this act instead of his or her location. And it has the objective, discover as many clues as you can before your inevitable demise. I noticed that I did forget to put 1 card in play. I will go grab that now. That is the copy of Fate of All Fools, which starts in our play area. I will go grab that now. There we go. Fate of All Fools is a treachery with the omen and spectral traits. It has the peril keyword, and when it enters play, you have to choose. If there is no other copy of Fate of All Fools in play, you put it into play in your threat area. Or you can, if there is an investigator with another copy of Fate of All Fools in his or her threat area, that investigator will take 2 direct damage. Or if you place 1 doom, or you may place 1 doom on another copy of Fate of All Fools. Of course, in this scenario, if you place the doom on Fate of All Fools, you are going to be taking a damage and or a horror from the agenda. So you're either taking 2 direct damage or you're taking a damage and a horror. It is up to you. Gavriella starts the game with 1 resource. Obviously, she played her 45 automatic off screen and used it to some extent because it only has 2 ammo tokens on it. Obviously, if we're going to take out this Spectral Watcher at some point during this scenario, we may need to get more ammo on there. Fortunately, we do have this copy of extra ammunition in our starting hand. I did mention our starting hand earlier. We have the 2 copies of Delay the Inevitable, which will protect us, especially when that agenda deck starts to deal 2 damage or 2 horror to us. That will come in very handy. The extra ammo, the dodge, which will prevent an attack. A copy of Evidence, which has the 2 intellect skill icons. A copy of Guard Dog, and First Aid, which typically I do not play in many decks because I don't find it to be very efficient. But in this case, all the healing that you can get is very helpful because you are taking a pile of damage over pretty much every turn. You're going to be taking damage of some kind. So if you're able to heal a little bit, that means you'll live a little bit longer and maybe discover a couple extra clues along the way. I think we are set up and ready to go here. We will gain our 3 actions. The first time I played this scenario, I went to my left over here to the trophy room and billiard room. I am going to go to the right this time. So as our first action, I am going to move to the master bedroom. Master bedroom is a 3-shroud location with 1 clue. And it has the haunted ability, place one of your clues on master bedroom, and it is worth 1 victory point. Unfortunately, victory points don't do you any good in this scenario. You cannot gain them and then spend them to upgrade your deck before you tackle the 2 primary scenarios in this deluxe box. We have 2 actions remaining. We could try to commit. I think I am going to commit this copy of evidence for the 2 intellect skill icons, and we are going to try to grab this clue. We're going 4 versus 3. Chaos Bag gives us a big -4, so that is a failure, and so we will trigger the haunted ability, but we don't have any clues, so it does not matter. I've got 1 action remaining. I'm not going to bother trying to investigate here. We'd only have 2 tokens in the bag that would be good for us, the +1 and the Elder Sign. So I am going to gain a resource instead and prepare for the Spectral Watcher, who is a hunter, and he will move during the enemy phase up to Victorian Halls. We do not have a draw deck, so we do not have to draw any cards, but we do gain a resource. And then we will advance. We will gain a doom, excuse me, and we will add a damage to us. We need to draw an encounter card, which is going to be Whispers in the Dark. Love the name of this card, obviously, because it is very close to that of the channel. It has the Omen and Spectral traits. You put Whispers in the Dark into play next to the agenda deck. Each location gains Haunted, take 1 Horror, and it has the forced effect when the round ends, discard Whispers in the Dark. So we put that next to the agenda deck. We are going to... We have our 3 actions. I don't like our chances of getting the clue here, so I am going to move to the balcony as our first action. The balcony is a 1-shroud location with 1 clue, and it has the haunted ability. Each of your cards with health takes 1 direct damage. That is not great. But we do have some resources here, so I am going to spend 2 of them as my second action to gain some more ammo tokens. So we get 3 more of those. Do we feel like taking a damage if we fail this? We might as well try to grab a clue here. We're going 2 versus 1. Gavriella gets, there is the skull. That is going to be a -3, and if you fail, and this is an attack or evasion attempt, resolve each haunted ability on your location. It was not an attack, but we still lose 1. We do take 1 direct damage because our investigator has health. All right, the Spectral Watcher does move. Again, we go to the upkeep phase. We just gain a resource, and we add a doom. And this Whispers in the Dark is gone, and we take another damage or a horror. I'm going to take a damage again, and we draw an encounter card, which is going to be Obscuring Fog. Oh, that's terrible for Gavriella. Attached to your location, limit 1 per location. Attached location gets +2 shroud. So this is going to be a 3-shroud location now, and after attached location is successfully investigated, we discard Obscuring Fog. So that is going to be rough. It's really unfortunate that we did not grab the clue when we had the chance. What's our best play here? I think we can grab this clue if the Watcher comes and attacks us this round. So I think what we'll do, we'll gain our 3 actions. I'm going to use the first action to gain a resource. I'm going to use the second action to play our first aid for 2 resources. And then we have 1 resource, so we can cancel the attack when the Spectral Watcher moves during the enemy phase, and then we can use Gavriella's response after that enemy attacks to discover this clue, so we don't have to deal with the obscuring fog. Eventually, I would like to shoot the Spectral Watcher, but I'm going to need his help to grab this clue at the master bedroom as well. So we will deal with him when he arrives. We have 1 action remaining. I should put these... we need some supplies. I will take an action to heal. We will heal a damage using the first aid. So during the enemy phase, the Spectral Watcher will move to our location and engage us and attack. I will use 1 resource to play the dodge to cancel that attack and then trigger Gavriella's response to grab this clue. That is the turn. We go to upkeep and gain a resource. Eventually we will want to get the delay the inevitables down. Fortunately, they do have the fast keyword, so we can play them without taking an action. We will add a doom. We will take a damage or a horror. I'm going to take a damage. And we will draw an encounter card, which is going to be the Spectral Hound, or the Shadow Hound, sorry. He's got 2 fight, 3 health, and 1 evade. He's got the monster and spectral traits. His prey is the lowest agility. He has hunter and retaliate, so if we fail an attack against him, he will attack us back. And after Shadowhound attacks you, resolve each haunted ability at your location. So we have some work to do. Unfortunately, the Shadowhound has 3 health, which means we're going to have to take... we are going to have to take 2 shots at him to try to defeat him. And then we're going to have to take 2 more shots at the Spectral Hunter. Unfortunately, we only have 3 actions. So that is a bit of a bummer to draw that enemy right then. So our first action will be to take a shot at the Spectral Hound. So we are going 5 versus 2. So we're 3 up. That's not bad. That's a -2. Chaos Bag gives us, so he takes 2 damage. Let's do that again. Gavriella shoots 5 versus 2, and we get a -4. Wow, that is really unfortunate. That is a failure. And so he has retaliate. He is going to hit us for a damage. And when the Spectral Hound attacks us, we resolve each haunted ability on our location. So we will take another damage due to the having health. So we are at 5 damage already, and we have 1 more shot with our gun. Spectral Hound, we get a 0, so we do defeat him. Unfortunately, we are going to be taking an attack from the Spectral Watcher during the enemy phase. So that is going to do a damage and a horror to us. We're already at 6 damage and 1 horror. That Spectral Hound attack really set us back. It's going to be tough to get another clue here, I think. We might be able to get 1, but I highly doubt we're going to be able to get much more than that at the rate we're going. That was the enemy phase. We will gain a resource. We are going to have to take a horror during the when we add a doom. And we will draw an encounter card, which is Crypt Chill. Test 4 willpower. If you fail, choose and discard 1 asset you control. If you cannot, take 2 damage instead. I will just take that straight up. We're 3 versus 4. And we get an Elder Sign. Wow. Holy smokes. That is some very welcome news. We will tie with 4/4, so we do not have to discard an asset, and we get to heal. I will heal a damage and a horror. Heal a damage and a horror. Wow, that's even better. So that's great. We still want to... we're going to have to get down one of our Delay the Inevitables this turn. Otherwise, we are going to take 2 damage or 2 horror when we add a doom next turn. We do need to kill this this Watcher, however. So let us do that. We will take an action and spend one of our ammo tokens. We're going 5 versus 3. Odds aren't great. We get a -1 though, so we do 2 damage. All right, and we will do it one more time. That's our last ammo token. Chaos Bag says -3. That is a failure. That is bad news. We are not going to be able to kill the Spectral Watcher this turn. Unfortunately, I don't think we are going to be able to kill him at all at this point. He does not have Retaliate, however, so that's okay. We have 1 action remaining. We're going to take a damage and a horror. So let's play our Delay the Inevitable. It's fast. We have 1 action remaining. We are a 4 versus 3. Let's take another crack at the Watcher. That is a skull. That is going to be bad news. Skulls are -3, and if you fail, and this was an attack or evasion attempt, resolve each haunted ability on your location. Again, the haunted ability on the balcony is each of your cards with health takes 1 direct damage, so we take another damage. And then the Spectral Watcher will attack us, dealing us another damage and a horror. Rough. This has been a rough game. We've only got the 1 clue, and it seems highly unlikely that we will be able to get another before we die here. We do get a resource. We will add a doom, and we will have to discard our Delay the Inevitable to prevent us from dying. We will draw an encounter card, which is an Obscuring Fog. That whiffs. So we do catch a little bit of a break there with the Obscuring Fog whiffing on that pull. We do have our 3 actions. We are going to have to use 2 of them to try to kill the Spectral Watcher. Then we're going to have to use 1 of them to gain a resource so we can play that other Delay the Inevitable to keep us in the game for another turn. So let's see if we can't kill this Watcher. We're going 4 versus 3. Chaos Bag gives us another skull. That will be the end of the game for us, unfortunately, as we will take that that damage from the balcony, and that will kill us, unfortunately. We had our first aid down, but unfortunately we were unable to use it effectively this game. And so we end up flipping over our agenda to your demise. Agenda 1B, in the missing person section of your campaign log next to your character profile, make a record of that character's fate as follows. then flip this agenda back over. If you were defeated by the Spectral Watcher's attack, record the character's name was taken by the Watcher. If you were defeated by a monster enemy's attack, record that the character was claimed by specters. If there was 7 or more doom in play when this agenda advanced and you were defeated by horror or damage dealt by a forced ability on Agenda 1A, record character's name disappeared into the mist. And if you were defeated by any other effect, record the character was pulled into the spectral realm. We were defeated by the direct damage on the balcony, so unfortunately Gavriella was pulled into the spectral realm. That will do it. We knew that she was going to die. It was just a matter of figuring out how that was going to happen. This is the third time now I have played this scenario. Like I said in the intro, I did make an error in the first game, so I wanted to re-record it, and then when I did the re-recording, I noticed that I made another error. So this is my third crack at it to get a clean playthrough, and this one went a lot worse than the other two. I only got one clue this time, and we just weren't able to get the pulls we needed in order to get away from to first of all kill the Watcher and then get the clues that we needed. Some players have some issues with the prologue. They're not really happy that you have to play the prologue in order to get the campaign underway, and I can see that point of view. These neutral investigators, it's a nice touch to play them once or twice, but I think for someone, if you play a lot of campaigns or your time is limited and you only get to play with your friends every so often, having to play these neutral investigators with their limitations isn't going to be everybody's cup of tea. I haven't played the other ones yet. I will be doing playthroughs for the other 3. We've got Jerome Davids, who is the Seeker neutral investigator, Valentino Rivas, who is the Rogue, and Penny White, who is the Survivor. So I think after I have had a chance to play all 4 of them, I think I'll probably be skipping the prologue. It's interesting, but there's very little that these investigators can do, and I think if you just get if you draw the wrong encounter cards, or just get a bad streak of pulls from the Chaos Bag, your investigator isn't going to be alive for very long. I guess that's one of the nice things about the prologue, is that it is exceptionally short. I think this game was over in 6 turns, and the other ones I've played have been, I think, slightly longer than that, 7 turns. So if you're playing solo, at least it's a pretty quick hit. But as far as investigators go, they are pretty limited. You've only got a starting hand of 7 cards, and you've got to play with what you've got. And you're taking a ton of damage throughout. So I hope that you enjoyed this playthrough, and that you will join me for the other 3 neutral investigators once I have a chance to record those. Thank you very much for watching. That's going to do it for this episode. If you enjoyed this playthrough, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. If you need to contact me, I can be reached at manfromleng@gmail.com. I'm also on Twitter at manfromleng. Until the stars are right, keep your shotgun close and your elder sign closer. Take care out there, and happy investigating.